Okay, hello all. Hello. Give thanks and gratitude to the teachers that came before. May we honor the teachings they gave us. Okay. Trying to make a few adjustments here this morning. That's what this is all about, right? This whole process is about making a few adjustments. So let me go ahead and there. I like that adjustment. Okay. Well, it is Wednesday. It means that today is the day that we generally recognize on Journey Home that we are in the middle of the week. And whether it is morning, afternoon, or evening for you, and whether your work week begins on any day, it's good to have a day to take a moment to recognize the middle, right? The middle, the center. And Wednesday is just as good as any other day to do that, especially because when we pick up our calendar, it's right there, right in the middle. So today, as we settle in and we find our postures, start with a sip of warm tea. And we're going to get into meditation through some breath together this morning. So before we do that, just check in with your body and see if there's any little kinks you meant to work out before you sat down that you didn't. We don't want to rush through anything in our day today. Today we want to be all things equal. So we're going to spend whatever time is necessary being mindful of our body, our thoughts, and our words. If this is your first time joining us here, and maybe it's your first time sitting in a meditation, or maybe you've sat in a meditation 1,000 times for 1,000 years, whatever it is, we're going to begin the same way by sitting in an upright position, straightening the spine. If you're in a chair, you want to put your feet so that they are flat on the floor if you can. Try to have your thighs parallel to the ground. And if you need a small cushion at the lower back or underneath the root to bolster yourself up a touch, it's fine. We want to get into a position of comfort that encourages balance. Okay? So we don't want to have to strain to hold ourselves because we want to move through the resistance of the physical body, and that makes it easier to move through the resistance of the mind body. And then we can begin to get to the soul body. Okay, as we hear the sound of the bell, let it take us through its vibration as it slowly increases and decreases in volume and disseminates throughout the space around us. We too can find the ebb and flow of the waves through our breath. We'll begin by just finding our natural breath. And today, our breath is the key into meditation. If you can breathe, you can do this. Just for a moment. You might be noticing the feeling of the breath, the sensation beginning in the nose, the coolness on the tip of your nose, the pressure, very subtle, in the sinuses or the chest as you inhale. The relief that the body receives upon the release of air as the chest and shoulders drop, the stomach contracts. You might find yourself following the breath by naming it in your mind. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Or maybe your focus and awareness of the breath is through the sound of the air moving inside of your head. Let's focus there. And we'll begin Ujjayi breath, ocean breathing. No need to change your posture or do anything different in this moment, except for slightly constricting the back of the throat, just enough that as you breathe in and out through the nose or the mouth, you hear the slight resistance to the air. We are simply magnifying the sound of the breath by restricting the amount of space the air has to move through. It's the same thing as focusing our thoughts on an issue and magnifying it with our mind. We are closing in on the air passageway, magnifying the sound of the breath. Watch as your breath elongates. This is called Ujjayi breath in the pranayama Sanskrit language. Pranayama is the practice of harnessing and controlling and focusing on the life-giving energies and forces that we have, and particularly with breath. But the translation, or rather the name that this is also given, is ocean breath. And it's given that name because the sound of the breath reminds one of the sounds of the tides or the waves on the shore. This has a profound ability to bring relaxation and calm. It's nearly immediate. Just don't fall asleep. You can go ahead and open our eyes. Nice deep breath in and out. And pull the shoulder blades together, opening the heart space. Deep breath in and out. And this is meditation. So, I've got a poem. It's called Dancing by some guy. The 10,000 things arise, each manifesting its own way. Nothing races forward, nothing left behind. All spring from the same source. They dance under the sky, singing verse in one voice. Bodhi, 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 svaha. That's the Writings of Somgi, transcribed by Rick Terwilliger. And the last statements, Bodhi, 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 svaha, it can translate, a direct translation of the words would be enlightenment. Bodhi is enlightenment. And swaha in Sanskrit translates to well said. But another way to think about, you have to think poetically when we're talking about language in any sense, because it's not always the direct meaning of the words on their own, but the words together and in context create new meaning, right? So if I were to say, enlightenment well said, you might be able to extrapolate, but when you put that together in a certain context, it can, well said can sort of transliterate itself over into meaning it is, right? It's like we talked about, um, in most religious texts, it talks about a sound somehow being the beginning. And, in the Bible, in the beginning, there was the word, you know. Um, and so when we talk about something being well said, we're saying like this has been brought into being. This has, like, our words are the manifestation of our thoughts. They are the actionable uh, presence of our thoughts. Right? And the words that we use, we may think that they don't have a lot of meaning sometimes, but it's those meaningless places of speaking that sometimes get us distracted from the place where we really want to be. And so when a word is spoken with power behind it, with meaning, with depth, a word that gravitates the mind away from the distraction and towards truth, towards centeredness, towards self, God, guru, whatever it is that's aligning you with a path of entering into oneness, then that word, that powerful statement, we can say is well said. That's svaha. So this culmination of thought, feeling, emotion, history, memory, developing itself as a word, transmits from me my energy, my feeling, my thought, my memory to you as sound. Right? And interestingly, to do that with words, speaking them, requires breath. So there we have sound and we have breath. Two elements that we use to bring us into meditation. So when we move through our days, if we can remember that these seemingly insignificant conversations or words that we are using are also powerful enough to transmit to you the very essence of what it is you need to see in the day, then that puts a whole different amount of responsibility into our words and brings to me a level of wanting to be mindful. Right? When I start to recognize that the words that I use can drastically change the outcome of a situation or a relationship, then I want to be very careful with the words that I use. So as this poem ends, Bodhi, 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 svaha, saying all things in accord, singing this, I feel, or I believe, or I experience this to say, everything in our life is aligning us towards our path. And it simply requires us to have the awareness to properly hear and properly experience. And if you understand that the words can do this, right? The words that we use can realign ourselves, then that's when you begin to hear the enlightening qualities of the things around us. And it's not just hearing it in the things that we associate immediately with being on the path or being gearing ourselves towards God or towards even meditation or anything that we align with what we think is a spiritual way of being. That's not the point. Those things are there because when we are on taking a conscious decision to discover our spiritual alignment, then these are like signposts. But when we learn and understand and embody the knowledge that all is one, that doesn't mean that at that moment all is one. That means that it's always been so. So everything along that path is all in unison saying, this is it. This is the enlightenment at any moment. And I think that a lot of times when we sit down into meditation, we can start to think, oh, I'm going to meditate my way into enlightenment. Or maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you are. But I know that sitting down with a goal of attaining a different state of being than I am has never brought me anywhere but into a chase. Right. I see this thing ahead of me and I'm chasing towards it and I want to reach it and I keep working harder and harder and harder to get to it. So when you slow down, it slows down. And when you finally release the goal-oriented positionality of your practice, do you get to experience now, where you are right now. Are you sad? Are you happy? What are the feelings that you have? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? What are the emotions? Are you tired? Are you sore? Are you energized? What's the physical representation? Experiencing all of that and stepping back from it and being able to witness all of that. That's when you begin to hear the chorus of Bodhi, 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 svaha. So when we move through our day today on All Things Equal Day, remember that the weight of your words is balanced by the intention with which they're spoken. And the less we speak sometimes, the more we can contribute to the greater conversation. Last night we had the opportunity to sit in the presence of and at the feet of a great teacher, Mingyur Rinpoche, a Nepalese teacher of Tibetan Buddhism. He's quite brilliant, quite hilarious at the same time. And he cited a study that he's aware of that the number he gave was 93%. And I don't know how they achieve these percentages, but I take this to mean a predominantly large portion of communication is nonverbal. Right? So that means that the words that we use that can be so powerful are a very, very small part of what we're communicating. And so as we come out of this session this morning, let's touch back in one more time together. And let's find that place within us that is beyond words. And let's let a smile come upon our face. If only to let your face relax. And when we start to have the goal-oriented thoughts of, I just want to be better, allow yourself to stop chasing that thing that's right in front of you and slow down. And you might begin, as it comes into focus, to see that the thing you are chasing is right at the tip of your nose. And instead of spending our time trying so badly to not be who we are, if we allow ourselves to feel deeply all of the things that we are holding on to, we can let them go. And as we empty ourselves of our attachments, that thing we are chasing is here, ready to fill ourselves up. And then we recognize that as we look around and we see others that we think are far better off than we, that this can't be so, because there are no others. There are no others. The suffering of any around can be brought in. The joy of any around can be brought in. All can be experienced and witnessed. It just sometimes requires us to stop moving, stop chasing, and stop talking just for a moment. And then we can hear the chorus, Bodhi, 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 svaha. I put my hands together in the recognized position of gratitude and prayer. And my gratitude today is for the poem and its ability to reduce to the essential words the experience that I need to have in the moment. And my prayer today is that may all find calm. May all beings find calm. Thanks for joining me on this journey home. We didn't actually listen to any of the music today. We just had the sound of the singing bowl and our own breath. But we can still say thank you to that. Thank you to the singing bowl. Thank you to the bell and to the breath. It's funny, I had a whole concept or an idea of what I wanted to talk about today that had nothing, it didn't appear at all. Once we started breathing, and I let those expectations of where I wanted to go fall away, then all of a sudden I was taken on this other place. I had intended today to share with you a meditative practice of japa. A friend of mine last night, she mentioned to me that I haven't done anything using japa meditations or japa mantra on the morning program yet to teach that or share that rather. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. It's a practice that I use quite often. So tomorrow, maybe we will talk about that, if that's what comes up. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful for you being here. Check us out on all of the different social outlets. Gosh, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and streaming on Twitch. There's a link tree at the top of the Journey homepage on Facebook that can take you to the links for everything that's there. I also have started a Patreon, and I have not yet gotten to really get into updating that. I'm trying to balance the amount of time I'm spending on a screen lately, which being in school and doing these morning meditations with you puts me on the screen for a few hours every day. So for my own sanity, I'm only putting in a little bit of time each day on these projects, but they are coming into fruition. And if you are somehow intrigued or interested in maybe working together with Journey Home, if you have a particular skill set or a creative idea that you want to see that you think may flow, reach out to me. Let's, I don't think any community, which that's what I'm attempting to do here, is I'm making an offering to a community, and it's putting out bird seed to see what birds come. Trying to build a community of people to support one another in our meditative processes and support us in our path towards getting better at feeling so that we can feel better. You can reach out to me at journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com, or you can respond to any of the places you see this video. I'll get the message through there. And if you have an interest in one-on-one work or small group work, I'm also available for this. So you can find that through my Journey Home page. But again, I thank you all. So go about your day today. And if you want to bring anything with you from this morning session, just my takeaway from it is that in the stillness and the silence that we can find, and it just takes a moment. It can literally be between the breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. It's right there. And in that stillness and the silence, listen deeply. And you might hear the chorus as well. So thanks to Rick Terwilliger, poet, for transcribing the writings of Somgi and bringing that into our awareness today. See you all tomorrow, 7:30 in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. Hariom.